This video is going to show you a solo flawless prophecy dungeon during the season of the Rise, and first just want to see that, then skip to the timestamps. Other than that, I'm going to show you the setups I used on the Warlock. So when you do the solo flawless prophecy, you'll be rewarded with the Prophetic Visionary Emblem. You can see before you. You'll get an exotic Sparrow called Of 10 Suns, and an exotic Ghost called Hareball Shell. I thought it was Cottontail Shell. I could have swear it was Cottontail. I must have changed the name. But anyways, that's the Ghost. So as for the setups, we're using two different setups for the entire room. We're barely switching mods. The mods are one fit for all, if you like, for armor mods and stuff. So we'll first start with Well of Radiance for the first couple of encounters. Fusion grenades, because we're using the exotic chestplate Starfire protocol. It become clear in the run why I'm using this. Weapon wise, Witherhoard, Cartesian Coordinate, a solar fusion rifle, and Fallen Guillotine, a sword. Pick out your best sword that you've got. This has relentless strikes, whirlwind blade, all with Taken spec. All legendary weapons put in Taken spec. If you haven't got Taken spec, put boss spec in it. Armor mods is an elemental, well, high energy fire hybrid build. So I'll just quickly glance over the mods so you can see. As I said, there'll be more information in the run, and we'll be switching some mods like scab mods, like we got sword scab. We'll go to linear fusion, but you know, you got all these different mods, which, as I said, I'll talk about in the run. Overload grenades obviously doesn't make sense on this, but we're going to switch, and this is the thing. So when we get past, after the first boss, we'll switch off to Bastion. We'll switch off a sword, put the Raid's Regret on, and then we'll just go with that. And then when we get to the Cube room, we'll then switch back to Witherhoard. We'll put on a Void Fusion rather than the Solar, and then keep Raid's Regret on, and then switch to Voidwalker. Take off this chest plate, put on Contraverse Hold, and then we're using a Void 3.0 setup. Now if you want to know what that is, I'll just quickly tell you. Vortex Grenade, Heal and Rift aspects are Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void, Echo of Undermining, Remnants, Expulsion. We are high discipline, high recovery setup, and it's the same thing with the same sort of elemental well, high energy fire hybrid setup. And we will switch some resistances as we go, and obviously scavs, as I said earlier. Overload grenades works on all adds, not just champs. That's why I've got it on for this. Anyways, that's the setups I was using for the Warlock. So as we start the run, we'll do the opening encounter. I believe you can skip it. I used to do the skip myself for this, but when I'm teaching this solo flawless, I like to just do this for somebody that's new to it, because it teaches the basic mechanics of the entire dungeon, light and dark. So where you're situated, wherever you're standing when that knight dies, you then get the corresponding mode, whether it be dark or light. Now obviously it's quite obvious when you're in dark or light, but there's some zones where it's not. The lights, the bottom of your screen will have a tinge to it, whether it be white or dark, to confirm that you're in the right location, so just bear that in mind. So we're going to get a dunk for the dark first. This is the beauty of Witherhoard, and Witherhoard is king for this dungeon. He is the #1. Anarchy used to be, but obviously not so much now. But Witherhoard is the #1 weapon used. I'm sure when I last looked for like the meta for this dungeon, because you can actually look stuff up like for that. Witherhoard's easily the best weapon for this. So whenever you're going for the solo flawless, or if you're in a team, you know, be the Witherhoard user. You don't need more than one, but Witherhoard is the best because of how you can situate yourself. So look, I can Witherhoard this knight here. I can then stand in the dark zone here, and then the knights will then burn, because one Witherhoard shot will clear a knight. If you let it do its tick damage, eventually that knight will burn out from Witherhoard, as long as it's a body shot. If it's a shot on the floor, they may stand out of that Witherhoard pool, so you just need to be careful of that. But we'll just finish off getting the light modes. As I said, it's pretty simple, this. If you do end up getting your super before the first, before the boss encounter starts, then that's actually beneficial to you, because you can actually pop a well to start. I mean, it's not required, but I'm just showing you a little trick. So if you do have your super, because of the way intellect works now, you have increased intellect when you deal damage. The faster fire rate of the weapon, the more super energy you get. So like a rapid fire fusion or an auto rifle, stuff like that, you get more super for it. Or if you take damage, you also get super. So I mean, it's quite noticeable, because when I was running prophecy before the intellect changes, I never used to have a well here. I'll be nowhere near it. Because of now, with the intellect changes, I do. So I'm literally 5-10 seconds off a well, so I'm just gonna wait it out. If you're gonna do that, pop a well over here. This is your best place to stand. Obviously now with this boss fight, if you don't understand how it works, it's the same thing, the light dark mechanic, right? But now you've got a boss that chases you a Phalanx and he can boop you off the map, etc. So we'll pop a well, put a banner in, get our reloads, and then we can start doing damage to the knights and stuff. 3 knights will spawn obviously, and then 2 spawns of scions. Now the scions need to be a priority for you. On the first phase, if you've got a well, it's not a problem. You can melt down a lot of the spawns with your Witherhorde and stuff. Obviously how is this going to work because I haven't got a primary on well? You use your Witherhorde as a primary basically, because you never really run out of ammo for Witherhorde. Okay, just because of how it works. So Witherhorde is your primary essentially. You don't need a primary. Not only that, the other benefit to running double primary in this dungeon is heavy ammo. You get increased chance at heavy because of that, right? Because special, it's to do with. I mean, it used to be like this when before primary ammo was infinite. When it was actually where you needed primary ammo, it used to be consistent that way, and it's still the same. Even after the ammo changes with infinite primary ammo, you still get an increased chance at ammo when you use double special, or if you use double primary heavy, it works the same way. Whereas if you run primary special heavy, you don't get nowhere near as much as ammo. That's why we went with the double special for the whole run. Because as I said, Witherhorde will do all the work you need it to do. So this is why we've got the now it's going to make sense to you why we've got Starfire protocol on. We're not obviously using it for the fusion nades. We're just using it for the fact that you've got 2 healer nades. So healer nades are critical because obviously we're not Devour. You could go Voidwalker on this setup. You're probably going to 2-cycle the boss. It is possible to 1-cycle though. But for the most part, people are going to 2-cycle on a Voidwalker. So this is why I'm going well instead, to make your life a little easier. As long as you do all the little things that I said for you to do and have a sword on, etc. Definitely relentless strikes. You need that on your sword because your ammo goes so fast with Guillotine with the nerfs. So even though they nerf Guillotine and it is in a good spot, it's still a really good sword to use. Just in general, the Vortex frames. Or any Vortex frame sword you have, use it. A Vorpal one wouldn't be so bad. It honestly wouldn't be so bad. But I think the Whirlwind Blade's still higher total damage overall. From tests that I've done last season, I believe. And Whirlwind Blade's still like your go-to sword perk. Because I know they nerfed it, it stacks to 10 now, but it's still worth it. I mean, that isn't a problem. It used to stack to 5, now it stacks to 10, that's fine. You're still going to get to stack 10 really quick. So now I'm just prioritizing light. We've got one more light. Notice which dunk I left because there's 4 dunks to get. So it doesn't matter if you leave a light or a dark. I was close here to dying, but you can float with your nade if you didn't know on well. That's one tip for there. If you do get booped, you can sword back on the map as well. Like if the boss does boop you, then just sword back on the map. But the general rule of thumb is to be doing map rotation on this fight. This fight is probably most difficult for people just because of things like that. Getting booped, the scions duplicating, stuff like that. This knight pushed me, which they can. That was solar resistance helped me out there. So you notice I've got double solar, the thermal shock chest plate. Because I've got that on, I was able to survive, do a healing nade, and I was good. Never really use your grenade for the most part when you're just doing your active rounds for getting mods. That is the biggest thing. I didn't have any ammo finders on because I went with Ashes to Assets, which actually penalised me later on in the run. But Ashes to Assets are a really good perk. But again, I would actually refrain from using it, and I would probably advise you to put fusion rifle ammo finder on because it's critical that you do it for the strat, especially not for this fight, but for the final boss. We're going to get the final dunk. Wait for the boss to lure over to you before you do that. Then lead with a Witherhorde and then well right on top of that boss. You need to do it ASAP because if you well too late, the boss will walk out of your well and you will have lost your one cycle. This is set up to one phase the boss, which isn't too hard to do. Make sure that you wither hard on the boss every now and then and doing your light swings, and then heavy when you get the full recharge rate. When the goblins come up, I recommend you try and take out that goblin first. Whichever one, it'll be only one that tethers him. Because when the well runs out like it did just for me, I was sort of struggling here. But I was sort of lucky here, but also unlucky in a sense, because I should have got the one cycle. But at that point, we're just going to then use the fusion, and we'll finish the boss off. That's taken spec huge time. That shot, I literally had a second or two left to one cycle, but that makes it look harder than what it was. Generally, and you can even go Lament. If you wanted to do the Lament, you could, I suppose. If you're going to do Lament, though, you want to go blind and nades on your kinetic slot, or energy, it doesn't matter, I suppose. So now we switch to Bastion. The reason why we do that is because it one-shots the blights. It's very good for killing blights. So with this Wasteland area, it's an easy, obviously, encounter, but there's a chance that you can still die. Also, you want to switch to a ranged weapon. So keep the fusions on, but swap to your heavy. And you're going to use your heavy like a scout rifle, basically, and then take out all the snipers that spawn at each blight wave. We're just trying to find the first blight wave. There's a chest to my left where that invis minotaur is. You can actually go and pick a chest. I don't end up doing it on this run though, because I just want to get the video out there for this, and you know, move on with the run. I'm not going to show you all the chests, and so I imagine you'll know where the chests are. You won't be watching it for that. So you can stand on top of the blight and be protected for the most part, but Phalanx can still boop you. Each set of blights have different mages, and knowing the mages is handy. So you've got the Phalanxes that boop you, you've got the Centurions that do the orbs, and you've got the, no, not the Centurions, sorry, it's actually Solar Captains. And then Scions, not Scions, Goblins. So, I guess the hardest one is the Phalanxes. I feel as though they've changed this, because there used to be Centurions that used to do the track and orb. So I feel as though they've modified this change. I could have swore there used to be Blights that tracked you. There used to be Centurions rather than the Phalanxes. But there was always Captains, remember that, and there was always the Vex Goblins. So that's maybe what they've changed at some point. The orb mechanic that you just saw me get shows you where the next set of blights are. So be careful, like, make sure when you go to the white orb, you look to see where that goes. It is reliable for the most part, but it can also screw you up as well, which you're going to see in a minute, where, because the final orb that you do get will show you the exit out of here, because that's what you're trying to do, find the exit to get to the Hexahedron Encounter. We'll manage our ammo a bit, because we've just want some heavy for the next set of blights. We've got plenty of Bastion, as I say. It's really good for ammo. You can just one shot a blight, so easy. I'm not sure why it does it. It just does. But we've looked at the blight, not the blight, the aura, the white orb, Toland, or whatever you want to call him, and it's showing us where the next. Get all our reloads before we start. Always take out the 3 snipers. This spot can keep, catch people off guard. They might just want to melt the blights down, but then when they melt the blight down, 3 snipers can snipe you and then kill you. So take the snipers first. Do it in phases. Do that. I wouldn't recommend you need to clear out all the ads. Definitely not. As long as you're doing your rotations and using your healing nades like so, you don't need to clear the ads. And if you are in doubt, you can even pop a well, or swap to Voidwalker and spam your grenades. Ultimately, this encounter doesn't matter the way you do it, just as long as you get it cleared and get to the next section without dying. So the orb told me to go back. If you saw that, it went behind me. So the orb actually sent me the wrong way, which I was suspicious about that, because I thought it would be the orb to my the exit to my right, but it was ultimately. It just, the orb didn't tell me to go that way, so I'm going to spend a few minutes of wasted time here, I guess, trying to find the exit. So that was kind of annoying, but it is what it is, I suppose. But when we get to the next encounter, we'll switch all our loadout. Like I said at the start of the video, we're going to switch off to Voidwalker with the Devour setup. You know, don't use Child of the Old Gods. Okay, not for this. Devour's king, right? For taking out Scions, staying alive. For solo play, the Devour is always best choice. Child of the Old Gods is a good setup with what it does, but it's not doing enough damage. I've saw the damage it does. I haven't fully tested it, but it's not worth it still. Unless if you're in a fight team, you've got a couple of Voidwalkers, sure, have somebody with it on, that's fine. But for the most part, for Voidwalkers, just run Devour. It is the best aspect in slot, if you're objectively looking at it. But not everyone objectively looks at the game. Sometimes people just want to put on a build and have fun, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, is there? But I'm here. My role is to tell you objectively, right, what is the best. Let's just not mess about what is the best aspects for this. Well, Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void, and then Fragments, the ones I said at the start of the video, for the most part. Right, we're swapping our loadout out, so Bastion's off, obviously, and now we're going to switch off to Likely Suspect. The reason for that is because we've got Harmonic Siphon on. Harmonic Siphon is a mod that basically, when you match a weapon to your subclass, you get orbs. It's the old Masterwork orbs that we used to get. You need to use a helmet mod for that, which is why I didn't have ammo finders, because I used that with Ashes to Assets. I'm also going to put Sniper Resist on. Sniper Resist is huge. I would even say you might... Actually, probably not. Probably Thermo Shock and then a Sniper Resist like I've got on is best resistance for this. So yeah, we got Likely Suspect to match to our Void 3.0 class, so we can get orbs via this weapon. So we're looking up first to see what we need. I actually screw up because I'm rusty with Prophecy. I haven't run it for weeks. So this was like sort of my first initial run. Once I established in orbit what I was going to run, you know, for the run. This basically was my first real crack at it. I've done Prophecy obviously loads, so I'm well rehearsing it, but I was sort of scuffed and I actually went for the wrong, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I went for the wrong light and dark. I went for, it's dark that I should be getting, for whatever reason I'm getting light here, so I just sort of had a moment. This costs you time. If you do this, it not only costs you time, it increases risk of death. Because there's a couple of different spawns going at once to make you understand. So snipers spawn in when each time you start a room. When you kill the snipers, they spawn the knights. However, the acolytes are independent and they are on a timer and they are infinite. You can use this to your advantage and it's also to your disadvantage, because if you screw up a dunk, you're more than likely going to have to deal with another wave of acolytes. It's not the biggest of problems on the Warlock. You can save it because you got Devour. Well, you've got Devour on all of them, I guess, now, because you got the mod that you can use Devour on other classes. So you can do that, which will probably be, you know, now Titan's going to be insane in this dungeon because of that little change. Okay, we'll get the right mod now, the right dunk, which is dark. We'll avoid the snipers and then go to middle. So how you should do each room correctly, which first of all, establish whether you need light or dark. So right now I need light. Then I'm going to actually spawn kill one or two of the snipers. If I can get both, fine. If I can't, I can't. And then as soon as I've done that, spam a grenade. Get your Devour going. You can't consume your grenade like you used to. That mechanic's gone. I kind of miss it in a sense because I used to like doing that. So you can't do it. You've got to get void ability kills to get your Devour, of course. That's, you know, so then you can get your Devour chain going on. And this weapon's got golden tricon, so look at the damage it's doing, right? Likely Suspect is an amazing fusion rifle, especially with the role I've got. Slide shot, golden tricon works perfectly with the Voidwalker because you're getting the damage bonus quite a lot. Slide shot means you don't have to reload it so much. You're going to slide about, so it's really good. Go up the next teleport, the next room. So now we need light. The snipers can spawn in different locations, so notice this sniper look. I saw one but not the other, so if I can If you can't get them both, that's no biggie. But you've only got like 2-3 seconds to take those snipers. Once that time window is gone, you really need to get on with the acolytes because they'll melt you down. So you know, the more you can get, obviously, the better it is. But if you can't, it's not at the end of the world. Just go for your devour chain. These acolytes were melting me, so let's take those out. When you clear the 2 knights and you go to pick up the motes, this is where the sniper resist helps. You can see how much damage I'm taking off them. Like, look at that one shot. Generally, it would be a hell of a lot more damage you take off them, so the sniper resist's helping out. The snipers do void, so that would actually not be a bad play to do, maybe a void resist. Maybe just put void resist, then thermo shock. You could do it. There's different ways of doing it. Just as long as you've got something for the snipers, because that's the critical thing. The knights aren't so bad, because whenever we sort of spawn killing them anyways. So take out the other sniper. We're confident in doing that. Take out all the acolytes. That's where Witherhoard, you know, is really good for the trash mob capability that it's got. And we can just melt everything. The quicker you play, the easier it is. Obviously, don't play too aggressive where you're not getting, you know, your devour kills and stuff. What I mean is, the quicker you clear the acolytes, the quicker you clear the snipers, the smoother the entire experience goes. When you start messing up dunks or losing motes, which you can lose motes, they can actually fall in mini holes that are spotted around each floor. You also sort of need to learn each floor, because each floor has its own sort of places where you can stand and stuff. That'll become more important on maybe like a Titan, even Hunters. But Hunters obviously have OP invisibility at the moment, so I suppose it doesn't matter on the Hunter either. We're looking for light. I'm playing a little too aggressive here, just make sure. Try to stick to taking the acolytes first before the knight, but the knight was in prime position just to take him anyways. We're looking for light, so we'll step in light. I'm going to use a bit of heavy here, because I've got tons of it. So notice I'm not really running out of heavy. You know, I'm using the heavy for what I need it on the snipers. Witherhoard's doing the acolytes, and the fusion's assisting with damage for knights and stuff. So each weapon has its role. My build itself has its role, 'cause it's the devour, so I can just keep my survivability up. And this entire encounter isn't difficult. It never was on a Warlock, obviously, but even I would say now, it's. I mean, I said last season it was never easy with particle deconstruction. But to let you know, I'm doing very similar damage to what I did last season, because we have a fragment called Echo of Undermining, which weakens targets. So even though we don't have particle deconstruction, we've got that, which all classes have access to, and it makes it amazing for boss damage, which you'll see when we get there. We'll melt the 2 Centurions, use a super, use what you've got. That's not too difficult to do. Then you get your loot, and then be on with the next encounter. The next encounter is pretty simple. It's just basically the jumping puzzle, of course, the Rainbow Road, whatever you want to call it. So you can put on Top Tree Dawnblade if you want to be efficient. You can Sparrow fly over there if you know how to do that, but chances are if you want to learn this dungeon you don't know how to Sparrow fly and aren't intending to do that, where you basically just bridge the gap as soon as you get there and just Sparrow fly all the way over there. That's more novelty than anything. I'm not here to show you like party tricks like that. What I'm here to show you is how to get it done, like first, second try, and that way you're not farming all day just for one dungeon, or months like some people do. So it's a Dead Sea, they call it, I guess. So we'll just summon our Sparrow just to speed this up a little bit. There's snipers that are going to spawn up. Now, the snipers won't hit you, even if you're just going at a steady pace. If you obviously just stop on your Sparrow, they'll snipe your Sparrow down, and it could wipe you. The Sparrow could explode and wipe you. So if you're going to Sparrow down, which you don't have to, you can just do boots on the ground all the way there, which I'm going to show you where you can do that. So I could literally just run all the way. If you're not confident, just run all the way there. You can take out the snipers, you can take your time, you're not timed at all. There's many routes to take, but the route that I take it all the time. It's a couple of I wouldn't say it's shortcuts, but it means that you don't have to do some awkward jumps. Because one of the ways you go, one of these ribbons or whatever you call this track, it sort of loops itself round, and you've got to sort of stand on the like on the edge of like a track to then jump on another one. It's a real awkward jump, and I've never liked going that way, so I always go the way I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm just going to take out these snipers. This bit's quite dangerous because you can take impact damage from your Sparrow if you don't side layer your Sparrow when you're mid-air. So I tend to not just Sparrow this bit at all. I just take out the snipers. Pretty simple. Then this is where the shortcut comes in. So the awkward way is right in front of me. We're not going to take it. We're going to jump off here. There's going to be a knight. We'll run past the knight. You can melt the knight if you want. It's no big deal. Just skip him. They'll come up these stairs and then head right. Not left, but right. And then there's a mini jumping puzzle. So they've done this on... It's by design, this. They give you multiple ways to get down one area. But I really prefer this jumping puzzle. Because it's not too hard. The only thing you really need to watch out is the Phalanxes. A Phalanx and a sniper spawns each as the further you get down. I've had some randomness where the Phalanx is actually spawned, like teleported on top of me randomly and then shield bashed me. That was ages ago, months and months ago. Like ages and ages. It could have been a year, or maybe even a year ago. But I always remember it, it was silly. Stuff can happen, just keep your wits about you with that. I haven't had it happen for, like I said, ages. So now you can see I can Sparrow to my left, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna continue with the jumping puzzle. If you do this though, you won't be able to get the chest. Well, you can if you've got Dawnblade Super. You can super over there, or with a sword fly over there. But the chest is in that last sort of section over there in front of me. But obviously we're not going for the chest. We're just going right to the boss. These snipers that spawn, you can take them out. I would probably recommend doing it because here's the thing. When you get down there, there's an elevator. Now, the elevator is inconsistent and doesn't always work. I know there's like a little trick to it. You need to stand in the right spot where the audio cue is and it'll send you. But it is finicky. And what can happen is there is a Phalanx, I think, or there always was. A couple of goblins. Unless they've removed the Phalanx. I'm not sure. Because they've altered a couple of spawns. It's weird. They even changed the Scion. The Scions were duplicating too much. They actually nerfed the Scions. Which was a good thing because they were out of hand at one point. You have to use War Mind cells to take them. But for the most part, Scions are okay. But what is still a bug in this dungeon is the lighting glitch. So the lighting glitch in this dungeon is still here. What do you do to fix it? Because it's very important that you do while you're doing the run. Go in your inventory for about 5 seconds, come back out, the lighting glitch will be gone. It can be awkward for players because you might start to question whether you are in light or dark, and it actually does happen to me later as we go on. So now I'm going to go double solar again because the knights do solar, they do massive damage to you. So having the double solar is clutch for this because there's obviously three knights up. You know, we're looking at what we've got. We've got 2 dark, 1 light, but sometimes they can change. We're going to activate our nade on a spawn of Scions at the back at the back of the map. Then we use a Nova on the knight on one of them. We've got dark. I know there's a lot of that, so we'll, you know, that basically clears out all the Scions. Right, so we've cleared out all Scions, both knights, in no time. Now we use Wither Horde on the Ogre, a bit of fusion. And we have enough time, because the Scions are infinite, so are the knights obviously, but the Scions, they spawn on a timer. But I know that I'm ahead of time for the next spawn, so I can actually kill these 2 knights before the next spawn of Scions. However, if you're a little bit slower than me, what you might want to do is wait for that Scion phase, take the Scions, then take the knights after that. You can take it in phases. So there was just the Scion. I think the Scion wave, or the Scion wave's coming in now, just as I get the dunk. So I'm going to prioritize getting Devour off the Scions, and then a bit of Wither Horde fusion on the Ogre. You can even super the Ogre. to be honest, because you've got Ashes to Assets, so you're going to get plenty of supers. So if you want to do that, because you can farm up everything after all this is done, once you get 3 areas of the room done, you can farm to your consent. You can even bounty farm here, do whatever you want, you know. But obviously it's ammo that you want to prioritize and having your charge of lights and stuff. Because we have got the high energy fire, which comes in critical to doing boss damage. If you want a solo 2-phase, you really need to follow the setup that I've chose with the harmonic siphon. Then you need the void energy weapon. Light Disrespect is the perfect candidate for it because it's a fusion, easily one-shot stuff. Funnel Web would have worked as well, but I didn't go Funnel Web because of the reason of heavy ammo. Heavy ammo will not drop near as much as you would like. So now we've got the final dunk. Let's farm up some super and special ammo. My special ammo isn't as good as I want. It ended up being enough though. 6 shots will do you, because we're not planning on using this legendary fusion on the boss. We're planning on just using Witherhoard and linear, because we've got max linear. Notice I haven't used my linear because there's no need to use it on anything really. So my main goal is getting the charge of light, which we've got. So we're going to do 2 different ways of getting charge of light, because here's what happens with charge of light. When you kill an ad, you lose a stack. Right? There's ads at the boss, so people are going to lose a stack. So first have charge of light from the Scions, which you get from the Void Well with Elemental Charge. That gives us stack 2. This then gives us ability for 20% weapon damage bonus. We'll leave with a grenade, 2 Witherhoard shots, 1 body, 1 on the floor. Then we'll do 3 or 4 linear shots after the first teleport. You then need to prioritize the snipers. So we're going to get a double kill on the snipers. This then gives us an orb of light. We maintain charge of light, do another shot of Witherhoard, then go to the next wave of snipers. I used Witherhoard, screwed up a little bit and lost charge of light here. So try not to do that. So I screwed up a little bit, but I've got another couple of snipers to get charge of light back. I'll use a Nova there. I'm sort of out of room in my damage now. I don't generally like Nova there, but it still works out. We'll do a little bit of Witherhoard damage and some linear, and then we go. Because you want to push for these last 2 snipers, because the last thing you want is these snipers, right, doing an insane amount of damage to you while you're trying to damage the boss. You get flinched, you miss your crit, then you're in trouble, and you could get ported. Then you're under pressure. So the way I play is I play this room front. You're ahead of the boss, not behind him. If you're behind the boss, your pressure is on you to do the damage, and you don't need it to be that way. The damage, what I end up doing is sacrificing a couple of plates of damage, a little bit, to then get massive damage on the last 2 plates. You can see the amount of damage we've done now. We've got him to our half, and we're going to get him below that. Spam all your ammo, because you're going to be able to farm up ammo on the next room anyways. The better damage phase you get on the first phase, the more comfortable it is on the second. But doing what I've just done, maintaining your charge of light like I did, it means that ammo, the damage is comfortable. You're going to be able to 2-phase. If you can't 2-phase it, then obviously it's a 3-phase. It'll still be a comfortable 3-phase at that. The only problem with a 3-phase is what my thought process is. Each time you go back, there's a different room. You may get what's known as Hell Room, where the Scion spawn rate is faster. If you get that room, it's making it tougher for you. So the more rooms you do, you increase the chance of dying. So my thought process is, if you 2-cycle a boss, there's less chance of you dying. All you need to do is follow the build, the Harmonic Siphon, the Elemental Charge with the high energy fire. You got a 20% damage bonus, which stacks with Echo of Undermine, which is a debuff. So that's why you get your massive damage. So here, what I'm wanting to do now is I'm not concerned too much with moats. I'm concerned with getting these Scions down, getting a Devour Chain. It happens to be that this room is quite good for light and dark. So I end up getting lucky, I suppose, with a good room. Light's a good place up here, but we've already got 3 lights. We've still got our Devoured Chain. I'll need another Scion just to keep that chain going, I suppose. But the critical thing is, it's very dangerous a room when there's 3 Echo Kells at each, or Kell Echo at each corner. Once you clear 1 copy, because the copy obviously leaves the map, you then have a zone to stand. Like if you mess up your Devour or you do something silly, go back to the area that's safe, rinse and repeat and reset. We'll let Riverhorde do the work, 'cause I'm starting to run out of ammo. This is where not having ammo finders on really hurt me, but I was using the Ashes to Assets, which was a mistake for this fight, because you're gonna get your super anyways for boss damage. So I would really refrain. I mean, we need the Harmonic Siphon. That's the biggest of deals, right? So that's one slot, and then Ashes Assets is the other. So we haven't got no room for ammo finders. So I would say heavy ammo was healthy for me. You can see I'm getting all the ammo. It was just fusion rifle ammo I was struggling for. And it's critical that I have at least 6 shots, because there's 6 snipers for boss damage. And that's how we maintain Charge of Light. Because if you don't do that little trick, obviously you're doing 20% less damage, and that's where your free phases come in. That's why people end up free phase and not prioritizing snipers and stuff. That room was done so fast, you know, for the most part. Now we can sort of farm up some ammo. Now here's the thing with ammo, right? A couple of people have said different things. Obviously there's been tests done on this. I've saw the tests and stuff. Ammo is a very funny mechanic in Destiny. There's a lot of variables. It's not just, well, if you do this, this happens. Now I probably should have run Special Finisher, but I haven't got any weapon. I mean, I could have, I suppose, swapped to a primary and done some special finishes. That could have been a strat. Thinking on, I probably should have done that. But ammo has a time element to it. It has an RNG element to it. It has what type of kill you're getting. Is it a weapon kill or an ability kill? Ability kills have less chance of giving you ammo. But here's another thing to that. The longer time goes on, the more likely you are to get ammo anyways, despite whether it being grenade kill, with a kinetic kill, you know, whatever. However, as well, if you get a kill with your heavy, you're more likely to get ammo for special ammo. So there's a lot of things that are going, like I got a grenade kill there, I get ammo, just noticed. So people think you don't get ammo if you get ability kills, but you do. It's not because of the ability kill, it's more because of the longer time has elapsed, there's an increasing chance of getting that brick. So, as I said, I could have, what I probably should have done is, as I said, put on a primary, something that like an auto rifle or an SMG, just to quickly get some finisher kills. Get these sounds weak, get a load of finisher kills. That would have helped the run out. So I recommend that you do that if you're struggling for the fusion ammo. As I've only got 2 shots, which isn't enough for the strat that I want to do. So I'm just going to have to wait out these spawns, which you can, as I said, you can wait out all the spawns and just keep farming until you get max everything. I'm good on heavy. Witherhoard's not a huge requirement. As long as you got, 4 or 5 shots, that's good enough. So here's our ammo brick. I've got 4 shots. I believe I end up just going with this. I've got Charge of Light. Remember to farm your Charge of Light up before you leave with your high energy fire. If you don't, you're going to mess the strat up. And then I'll just commentate over this damage again because there's a lot going on at once. So first, lead with a grenade. Charge your grenade up. Then you want to get a body shot with a horde and one at the floor. So you get double stack on with a horde. Then you do your linear damage, 3 or 4 shots. When he does a teleport, which is scripted, the sniper's spawning after the teleport. So this is your chance. Stop doing damage. This is your chance to get your orb, get your double kill. Then do a Witherhoard shot behind you. If you stick it, great. If you don't, you don't. Then we'll kill these 2 snipers, get our orb. Use a bit of slide shot there for some gain. Now we've got Witherhoard doing damage for us while we spawn kill these snipers. That's the beauty of Witherhoard, of course. Spawn kill these 2. We've run out of special weapon, unfortunately. But that's fine, I guess. Because the boss is weak anyways. We're not going to get a Charge of Light here. But I was fine. I was confident that I had enough ammo to sort of finish the boss off. Once you take out the 2 snipers, you just want to then prioritize a bit of linear damage. When he teleports to this plate, get your debuff going with your Witherhoard, and then literally just finish off with any heavy that you have left. Which you should be starting a boss fight with. You should have enough heavy by now if you're coming in with 20 shots at the start of the damage phase. But that was the Solar Falls Prophecy for this season. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.